What's happening, YouTube? You back in the building with the Black Avengers of current culture. Me, Larry, T Streams. Fellas, how you doing tonight?
What's up, man? What's up? I'm doing good. How about yourself? Doing real good.
I'm good, man. Larry, what's up with you, man? We done lost you.
No, man, I'm just messing around.
Okay. I was about to say, man, damn. My man had the straight ventriloquist pose.
Yeah.
I'm going rolling crazy.
Yeah, man. I feel you. So, people, what we got lined up for you guys today, you know how we do this. Pop culture, movie, Marvel news, money news that you can use, politics, and we're going to jump right on into it. But first, please subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to Larry's channel. Go check out Taylor on Facebook. Like this video, comment on this video, share it, and check out the podcast. And then if you really, really need some gear, go check out shoplifegains.com. First pop culture story we're going to talk about that's hot. Carmen Electra came out just the other day, and she detailed the sexual exploits she had with Dennis the bad boy Rodman. And fellas, I gotta say, oh, you think he was just a bad boy for the Pistons? To give the folks some backstory, let's let them hear what Carmen Electra had to say about Rodman shortly after they got married. Man, I tell you.
A lot of people think Dennis Rodman, okay? They think tattoos, they think wild hair, they think cross-dressing guy who wore that wedding dress. I mean, that doesn't scream boyfriend material.
I love that. I love the colored hair. I love the drama. I love the excitement. You know, he asked me if I wanted to get married, and I said yes. And he said, okay, get dressed. Let's go.
Was there any part of you that was like, what are we doing? It's 7 o'clock in the morning. We're in Vegas.
We both kind of said that to each other in the car on the way.
So this story should be near and dear to T Stream's heart because he's from Detroit, and Rodman was a big piece of the Bad Boys Pistons. But what we didn't know was the man apparently is a bad boy in the bedroom. So this week, Carmen Electra dropped a little nugget when she said he came and scooped her up in the motorcycle. They went to the Chicago Bulls facility, and they made love endlessly and constantly on pretty much every room in the Chicago Bulls practice unit, from the kitchen, from the weight room to the court. Her juices were scattered all over the place in that compound. Fellas, and I'm going to give this one to T-Stream first. Does this surprise you that Dennis Rodman was able to pull off this bedroom candy feat?
Nah, it don't surprise me. Dennis Rodman, he looked like he a little thought boy. So, I wouldn't doubt it. When you're young and you fired up, you just go, you just go. And then, he probably like, he in the limelight now. So he might as well just get it in. So it don't surprise me not one bit. Dennis Rodman, he got a nice little roster behind him. So I'm sure that he's paid his dues. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Larry, jump all over. And when I say jump all over, I don't mean literally, but jump all over Carmen Electra's comments.
Man, I want to see the home videotape with him, Carmen Electra, and Kim Jong-un. No, I'm just.
Oh my God. Oh, ew, man. Come on, man. Jeez, man. And they found Kim Jong-un too. Some pictures surfaced of him just today, so he's not dead.
Yeah, that's what they say. Them pictures are like 3 years old. But I tell you, I mean, if I'm a young dude like Dennis Rodman was, and I had Carmen Electra, man, I'd have been tapping that everywhere I could too. Man, there would have been my DNA would have been spread everywhere. Just a mishmash. Man, archaeologists would have been finding my DNA, 2 million years from now. Talking about, we don't understand, but these two different types of DNA just seem to be everywhere.
Well, apparently Carmen Electra leaks like Krispy Kreme because they said there was cream all over the place. She admits openly. So to talk about ex in this positive light, years after y'all done had fist fights with each other, called the police on each other, but you still talk about that act years later that you was Krispy Kreming all over the place, man. I mean, he rebounded something, fellas, and I ain't talking about basketballs.
Yeah,
he rebounded something.
It really don't take too much, man. All it really do is take for us men to get away from a little selfishness when it's time to make whoopee. And
he went back to the dating game.
Yeah. So once we take out that selfishness away from it, man, I think any man can just can hold his own and put the flex down real good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Well,
and Dennis Rodman,
go ahead, Larry.
I mean, let's not forget, dude is an elite athlete among elite athletes. So, I mean, I'm sure dude didn't have any issues with being, I'm tired. He just keeps going and going and going and going, I'd imagine.
Bro, Michael Jordan talked about him like he didn't have but one speed, and that was 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Sometimes, fellas, you know this to be true, 100 miles an hour can mean less than 60 seconds. But also, we now know cocaine is a hell of a drug. And Dennis Rodman was using all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That'll lead us into the next pop culture story. Damn, Carmen Electra spilling all the good tea. The next story is another one that comes from basically The Last Stand. And this one deals with another Detroit guy, Isiah Thomas, Michael Jordan, T-Stream.
Now look here. I'm gonna put it like this, plain and simple, man. You know, I like Jordan. You know,
hey, let me get out the story on this one. What's going on?
Okay.
So you know, Jordan had a moment where he fell out with Isiah Thomas, and the backstory to all this is it led to him telling them, "Do not bring Isiah Thomas on the Dream Team." And take a look at what the response was from Isiah about what's going on in the documentary and the Dream Team issue.
Whatever Isiah says now, you know it wasn't his true actions then. You know there's time enough to think about it or the reaction of the public that's changed his perspective. You can show me anything you want. There's no way you can convince me he wasn't a blank.
Had we had the opportunity to do it all over again, I think all of us would make a different decision. Now, me, myself personally, I paid a heavy price for that decision.
And that decision, heavy price he's talking about, he missed out on being the Dream Team. They took John Stockton and Magic Johnson over him and had Joe Dumars, for crying out loud, as the backup over Isiah Thomas. T-Stream, did Michael Jordan go too far, or is this just a case of the rich and powerful get all the spoils?
You know, you can't take anything away from Jordan. He was good. All right. He left a mark on basketball for as long as basketball will remain being played in the United States of America. Mm-hmm. But what he did was, excuse my language, but what he did was a fuckboy move. All right.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, T-Streams. Keep in mind, T-Streams is the Detroit guy. I just want to put that out there. I just want to put that out there now. T-Streams is the Detroit guy.
Right.
Fighting words for some people.
Now, I'm going to tell you this, because when you look at it, it boils all the way back to the championship game where they swept us, all right? Detroit leaves the auditorium. Don't shake their hand. So, I mean, all right, you at the highest level of competition. If somebody don't want to shake your hand, man, why are you going to cry? He don't want to shake my hand, so he can't play basketball with us overseas. And I'm just, and I mean, it may have not have been like that verbatim, but when you look at it, that's how it was. Michael Jordan played the fuck boy because didn't nobody want to shake his hand at the end of the finals. You already got the trophy, MVP, and all this other kind of stuff. Why do you need to shake somebody's hand, nigga? We mad. You know. So how you gonna try to use your way? You gonna try to use your way to bulldog somebody off of a team, and at that time, you know, you really wasn't even at the total height of your little situation either, and so you know that was if you go back and watch the documentary. Or the statement at least that Isiah Thomas said, you know, it'll really shed some light. You know, dude was really being, you know, and for him to drag it on, it's been over 20, 25 years now. It's been longer than that. And so for him to drag that on and still hold the grudge because he didn't want to shake your hand, Michael Jordan, you is a fuck boy.
Larry, let me give it to you before they kick us off over T-Stream. Is Michael Jordan being as petty as 50 Cent and Donald Trump? And is it justified for him to be this petty to this day?
To this day.
All right. Well, let me say this. Here's the thing. It's sort of a catch-22, right? Part of me feels like, as far as taking Isiah Thomas and putting him on the dream team and going to the Olympic Games itself is a sporting event, a larger sporting event, or you know, a tournament that is based on the foundations of good sportsmanship. It was sort of a way that nations can come together and they can avoid war by having sport. And those were sort of the original foundations of the Olympic Games. Now, if you're worried that somebody is not a good sportsman and you don't want them on your team because they're not a good sportsman and they don't exhibit good sportsmanship, that is a legitimate reason not to want somebody. However, if you are also not showing good sportsmanship by not actually forgiving somebody or saying, hey, this is a good player, let's reach out to them, let's be good sports about it and try to hash out our differences, is also not being the best sport. So it's sort of a catch-22, but in the end, the reality of it is that Jordan was the man at the time. He was the one that got to call the shots because he could have just simply said it's either Isiah or me, and they would have said, okay, cool, we're taking you and leaving Isiah home. And I don't know if that's what happened, but if it came to that, I'm sure that's very easily what could have happened. So, I mean, I think ultimately as a competitor, you should want the very best players on your team, whether you like them or not, you know? And so the Jordan does not want him, I think is maybe, at the same time, I'm sure he realized we just don't need him. You know, I mean, our team is stacked. We just don't need them. And they didn't. They obliterated their competition. They just simply didn't need them. It's like, did they need Christian Laettner? No, but, you know, they needed a college player. So he was there.
The backstory on what happened with the Dream Team. Now, this was written by someone who covers the Chicago Bulls. So this could be a whole lot of icing on this Michael Jordan cake. The backstory is it wasn't just that Jordan didn't want him. Most of the people on the team didn't want Isiah because they felt like he was a bad boy. He would have been a cancer in the locker room, whatever. But if it came down to Michael Jordan really was holding a grudge over the handshake thing, I give Michael Jordan no credence on that because the year before that incident, when the Pistons got rid of Larry Bird and the crew, Larry Bird and that crew walked off without shaking hands, and ain't nobody think of it. So I'm kind of with T Streams on that one. If it's that petty, why in the hell didn't Michael Jordan get mad and be like, "Well, I don't want Larry Bird because he's not a good sportsman either."
Right, but here's the thing: when you don't shake the hand of the bad boys, it's not looked at as you did something horrible because you're dissing the bad boys. But when you're the bad boys and you don't shake the hands of the good guys, then people look at you differently, you know?
So you own that Michelle Obama. When they go low, we supposed to go high.
Well, I mean, essentially, yeah. But when you don't go high, people look at you a certain kind of way, you know?
When we gonna learn our lesson about that? You about to make me say a bad word, Larry. I'm starting from scratch. When we gonna learn our lesson about that?
Well, you start from scratch every episode now, man.
Be more careful. T Strings, finish off segment 1 for us. By the way, subscribe, people, and super chat. I got new sound and visual graphics for those that super chat. I'll let you pick.
All right, cool. So, at the end of the day, man, it really just it do show how petty Jordan is. And for one, here it is. Everybody now they're on the higher side of their 50s, crawling into their 60s, and you still talking about something that happened at the end of the 80s and to be started the 90s. But how many times can you think of when Jordan expressed or showed unsportsmanlike conduct on the basketball court with with his mouth, and everything, and so and the way he reportedly treated some of his own teammates. So
he punched Steve Kerr in the nose and broke it.
Yeah, so it was a double. He playing the double standard. So I like him as a ball player, but dude, he probably as a person, we probably wouldn't click. I don't know, because dude, he all right. But anyway,
it's hard. I would imagine it's hard because when you get to that level, you have a humongous ego because everyone's saying you're the greatest there ever was, you're the greatest playing the game, and you're actually backing all that up. It's not like there's just it's not like it's hype. It actually is. And it probably, it goes to your head after a while and it starts to change how you behave, and when everybody's sitting there going along with it, I mean, you could just say, I don't want somebody on this team, or I'm angry at somebody, and other people will get mad. Okay, well, he's angry at him. It must be a legitimate reason for him. I'm okay with that, But to be honest with you, anybody who's still mad about something that happened on a basketball court 20 years ago, that shit's just petty. Leave it be. I mean, I understand in the moment, in the league, while you're still playing, but 20 years later, I mean, they should be friends at this point. They should be sitting around drinking friggin' 40-year-old scotch and talking about the good old days,
Should be.
Oh, but yeah. Male ego can be a thing. Ja Rule and 50 Cent ain't cool. I don't ever see Hillary and Bill Clinton being cool with Donald Trump, and it don't ever look like this mess with Isiah Thomas and Michael Jordan.
Lamont, like you were saying that a lot of the other players didn't want him on the team. I think that obviously they were the bad boys. They played hard. They fouled hard. They played hard. They played dirty. But the thing is that when that's how they played against other teams, he's not going to be that way to his own teammates because that's how they played with their competition, So
well, here's the point Stephen Gray made that's legit. Isiah Thomas kept Michael Jordan out of the All-Star game his rookie year. And that's kind of another point where the beef began between the two.
How do you keep him out of the All-Star game?
I guess he went and told the coaches, don't let this little young whippersnapper get in the All-Star game. We're not going to have him. So Michael Jordan's rookie year, he didn't make the All-Star game. And the allegation is that Isiah Thomas was the big cheerleader for that.
When did they start the Rising Stars or the rookie All-Star game?
Man, that's been since the 2000s era.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that Isiah did. That's a straight bitch move right there. If that's what happened. I'm just saying. I mean, if you're a rookie and you're coming in and you're going to make the All-Star game as a rookie, and some dude just is upset with you for whatever reason and decides to straight basically just cock block you from getting on the All-Star team, I think I might have some lingering resentment over that too. I might be like, man, F him,
Yeah, but like you said, at this point, man, just let it go, man. All y'all almost retirement age. Hell, some of y'all walking around with a cane now. Just let it go.
No, I agree. At this point, they should be okay. And I guess what I mean lingering, resentment when it came time to keep him off of a team, like keeping him off the the dream team, then I might be like, okay, yeah, you know, guess what? I'm cool. I just got a gold medal and you didn't. You got you know, I still eventually went on to become an all-star, and I still have, you know, multiple VIP trophies and all-star appearances, and I have a gold medal. And you didn't get to be on that dream team because you basically played the bitch move on my rookie year. So, I mean, I can see why that stuff kind of goes back and forth, you know. But, you know, like we were saying, at this point, they should be sitting around, you know, watching old films together, drinking scotch, and just hanging out, chilling, and talking about how they were dumb young kids, and you know, because it wasn't like even then, even though Isiah was a so-called vet. Dude retired at 32. He wasn't that old, you know.
Yeah. Well, moving right along.
Jackson.
Yeah, man. Now we're going to careen to movies and TV shows, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'm going to do something we did last time. We are going to cover a movie trailer that Larry sent me that I didn't even know anything about. This should be one good for my power people. It's Capone. It stars Tom Hardy. Let's take a look at this, see if it's going to be any good, and we'll break it down when it's over.
How about it for our good friend Al, ladies and gentlemen?
Do you know what the difference is between Adolf Hitler and Al Capone? Hitler's dead. Capone lives like a king in Florida.
He has full-blown dementia.
I have reason to believe it could all be an elaborate act.
What's this about?
We have information that your client may have tucked away a very large sum of money.
You can drop the act now.
You got goons walking around.
Guys like you own this place $10 million. Maybe I can get him to talk.
He's gonna go on a rampage.
We made a promise. Someday we was gonna make it big.
The only thing that really matters is how a man treats his family.
Okay. So, fellas, this is Tom Hardy. It also has the guy that played in Shameless.
Yep.
It drops May 12th, 2020, straight to video on demand, released by vertical.com. Larry, what you think? Is it going to be any good?
I think it's going to be good. It looks like it's going to have some excitement in there, some drama, some action. I think it's going to be interesting, especially since they're telling a part of the Capone story that we don't really hear, which is his life sort of after whatchamacallit.
After he got out of jail.
Yeah. And so it's interesting to see how it's going to play out, because normally all we hear is the Capone story of Chicago and his lead up to getting, you know, basically convicted for tax evasion. We don't really ever hear about what happened to him after. So this is going to be really interesting to see that story.
Yeah.
T-Streams.
And you know, man, I love me a little gangster movie. I'm gonna have to break my TV fast when I'll be well off by the time that come around. But yeah, that's it. I'll take me a 3-day TV fast, man.
Does that include video games?
Nah, and I guess it don't include what I watched last night either. But
oh my God, you sound like me in my cuss jar.
It's a loyal attempt. It's a loyal attempt to try to do something good.
I like it.
But yeah, man, that you know, it's the movie is going to depict the ending portion of his life, and that I'm sure that would be really, really interesting. Because everybody, you know, we've all seen plenty of adaptations, whether they were old or, you know, somewhat current of, you know, of the Chicago gangster movement with him and his involvement and stuff like that. But to be able to go in and see something especially how he dealt with some of his illnesses during the declining of his life. I'm sure it'd be pretty interesting.
They said the man had dementia and syphilis.
Yeah.
Well, I think that his cognitive decline was caused in large part by untreated syphilis.
Yeah.
Because apparently he had it for a couple of years, and it was untreated. And syphilis, if you don't treat it, will get into your brain and mess you up. So I think that's what caused. I think that was the start of his cognitive, decline, and then the dementia probably was exacerbated by that. So.
Right. So if you're out there messing with them old dirty ass thoughts, that can't think straight,
man, that right there gives more meaning to the beat your meat section, if you know what I'm saying. Lord have mercy.
I'm just saying, if your dad did not tell you when you were young, after a full release, have a full pee. Make sure you save a little pee, so after your release, you can pee. Clean the urethra out. Clean it out. Urine will kill everything.
See, you can come to the Black Avengers of current culture and get sexual advice from a Capone movie from these brothers right here. Lord have mercy. So now moving right along in Marvel news, and I know you guys both like the MCU, where there is a gentleman by the name of Jeremy Conrad. He's a writer for MCU Cosmic. He tends to get a lot of interviews and insider information. Well, he just got some insider information that the MCU could be going the way of Marvel's Ultimate. Take a look at this, and then I'll break it down for you.
So I think this is, a lot of people have been speculating, how are they going to use Fantastic Four? How are they going to use maybe X-Men? I don't know if they would do X-Men this early, but this could be a way to introduce Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four and have a big event. Now, for a long time, there has been a rumor floating around behind the scenes that there would be some kind of big team up prior to the next Avengers movie. Some people were speculating that it could be Captain Marvel 2. Now, Captain Marvel 2 is apparently going to set the status quo for the next Avengers movie, but it might not be a big team up type movie. This could be that big team up that would hit right before the next Avengers movie, and it could be a way to, like I said, put Fantastic Four on a big stage because they are, Feige at Comic-Con said they're going to be done in the way they deserve.
Basically, them talking about the Marvel Ultimatum series was this big, gigantic series that came out in 5 installments in 2009. And fellas, check this story. Oh my God, the storyline sounds crazy. Magneto's kids got killed. So Scarlet Witch was killed. Quicksilver was killed. And that drove their daddy Magneto nuts. And so what he did was release this doomsday device that started tearing the earth apart piece by piece. And they had to enlist the Brotherhood of Mutants, the Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, Spider-Man, the X-Men, and the Ultimates. The Ultimates was an alternative version of the Avengers. The founding members was Tony Stark, Nick Fury, Ant-Man and Wasp, and also Captain America and Thor. All of them had to get involved to stop Magneto and this doomsday device. Gentlemen, I give this one to you first, Larry. Would this be a great way to introduce these new characters into the MCU?
I guess so. But part of me feels like the Fantastic Four they're so big. They don't need this watered down introduction where they have these other supporting characters like Captain Marvel and Captain America and Iron Man to kind of introduce them into the world. People know the Fantastic Four. I mean, people have been wondering, where the F is the Fantastic Four? Why are they not in here already? I mean, I don't think they really need some. I don't feel like they need some introduction. They don't need somebody else to come in and vouch for them and say, okay, well, we're gonna make this movie with the Fantastic Four. to introduce them. They are the freaking Fantastic Four. Just give them their damn movie and sprinkle a couple of other, a couple other Marvel characters in there just to introduce them into the world a little bit, to say, hey, this person's going to be here in the next movie, or they're going to do, whatever. But I think the Fantastic Four gets their own stuff.
Yeah.
Two streams.
I think that's enlarged because of the, some people may have liked them. I think the Fantastic Four movies were sort of duds previously, so they may be attempting that to give a fresh approach, or I don't know, but like you said, they are already known, just like the Avengers, they already have their backstory and everything. We just need them to write a good movie,
right?
And not put out any garbage. Now this could be a double-edged sword, because you got this one movie with all the superheroes and stuff collaborating and all this stuff, and it could go well. But with all of that going on, it could take away from them, showcasing vital points for specific, for the specific heroes or characters that they should be doing it in. Because you can't have 10, 15 superheroes in one movie and then try to showcase, them all, where everybody gets their highlighted time. I guess you can pull it off with another 3.5 hour movie, but why make that approach if you can do it and make 2 movies and just sort of keep everything separated, and maybe crescendo at that point 2 or 3 movies down the line. All they really need, man, is some good writers to come up with some good stuff for the Fantastic Four. If you go back and look at some of their old cartoons, or read some of the old comic books, they was pretty badass, just like they were. So that's all they really need. You get rid of that bogus old school CGI they used in the older movies, and get some, not to say that the actors that they used was just all out of whack, but they weren't, for me, maybe for you, but not for me. They it was nothing that drew me to that movie. I could turn on the tube right now and watch Avengers Endgame and be just as satisfied as the day I was when I first saw it. If Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer or something came up on the screen, I'd be clicking it and moving to something else. So hopefully they do it some justice, whatever direction they go in. If they think that it's going to require having an all-star cast of superstars coming banging the whole screen out of a disgruntled old man with a metal helmet, then power to it. I'm gonna go see it regardless. But I hope it's good, whatever they do to it.
T-Streams, I agree with you on the point where you were talking about that they don't need to bring them into like a movie with a whole host of characters. When you have too many superheroes, they may get lost in all that mix. I think they would be good. I think it would be good to introduce them, and similar in a way that they did with Wonder Woman. They had the Batman versus Superman movie, and they brought Wonder Woman in on that. And I think that was a really good way to introduce her, because she had a prominent role during that whole movie. It wasn't her movie, but we got to see enough of her that really whet our appetite for her individual movie. And so even if they had just say like the Fantastic Four movie with just Iron Man helping out, or Thor helping out or something, I think that could work. But I don't think they need to bring in 5 or 6 or 7 of the characters from the MCU, and then try and have the Fantastic Four somehow stand out on their own. I mean, that's just too much story to put in 2 hours. I mean, honestly, they just need their own movie.
I don't know what these guys are drinking, But I'm all for any combination of doing this if you can kind of slice it in half. I don't think we necessarily need to see the Avengers in this movie. We need this movie to kind of be something where maybe Magneto does go crazy, or someone who is of that power. Maybe they make it Doctor Doom, who instead of it being Magneto, they have some giant narrative where Doctor Doom cracks up against the Fantastic Four and they can't quite defeat him. And you have to call in maybe a few X-Men characters, but still following the storyline of Marvel Ultimatums without having to bring in all the fashions. You don't got to bring in the Brotherhood. You don't have to bring in the Ultimates, which is basically the alternative Avengers. But some form of that storyline, I think, could be done in a good fashion because Kevin Feige does not want to go back and reintroduce these characters from their origins again. And I completely agree with that. We don't need to see that anymore. You could have it where the movie starts where they have the villain, in essence, destroying everything. Then maybe you give a few little backstories to how they got there, and you just see all these superheroes getting their asses kicked. And then somehow or another, they're able to coalesce with another fashion, maybe one fashion. And that's a good way to introduce the characters. I'd be about that, but I do agree. I don't need to see all of them on the same screen, but maybe the ones that Marvel just got possession of can come on the screen and maybe bring in one or two MCU people, like maybe an Iron Man or maybe a Thor or maybe even the Hulk, to just kind of solidify the victory that these people could achieve with this storyline. And when they did the comic book run for this particular storyline, they said it was not critically reviewed well. But that don't matter when MCU has taken some of these before that wasn't viewed that well and have made a good movie out of it. I have faith in Marvel. I have faith in Kevin Feige, and I think it can work if they just don't go full bore with all the superheroes.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens with it. I'll tell you what I want to see. I'll tell you what I want to see. And it's not with the MCU, but I want to see Ryan Reynolds reprise his role as Green Lantern and do it justice. I want to see them I want to see them bring him into another DC film and make his character right.
Man, I honestly didn't mind Green Lantern, to be honest with you. I watched the movie. It was okay for me. And I played the video game and I really enjoyed it. And I'm not afraid to say it. I ain't afraid to say it. So now, fellas, I'm going to switch gears. Now we're to the most important segment of this whole entire live stream, and that's the financial segment, ladies and gentlemen. And the two things we're going to cover in the financial that we're going to cover today deal with when is the right time for you to take Social Security. And also, we've had an issue, and Larry sent me this story. Hertz rental car is about to go bankrupt. On April 27th, they did not pay their debts, and they owe $17 billion in debt, and they didn't pay it.
And they missed their debt payment.
Now they're begging from Congress to, please give us a stimulus too. We're hurting. We don't know what we need to do. We need some money. They're begging Congress for money to help them with that $17 billion in debt. T-Streams, I'm going to give this one to you first. Why should Hertz, now I will admit this, they have been killed by services like Uber, Lyft, and Sidecar. Why should the government bail them out?
I don't think that they should.
Me neither.
I don't think that they should. When you have like rental places like that, you should have systems in place to accommodate for the checks and balances against like competition. Now, because they do more than just rent cars to you at the airport. And so I don't think that, honestly, I don't think that they should get no bailout. And then if you're trying to ask for whatever $1 billion, excuse me. If you're trying to ask for whatever $1 billion, what point is it going to make? To me, everybody's hurting right now. But to me, that sounds like some bad management somewhere to be that far in debt. That's, not to say that it can't happen, but something has been mismanaged for it to happen like that. That's a little too drastic. And I know they'll probably equate it to the whole car industry that they did with the big three and stuff like that. But I don't think that can be compared to to like circumstances. Will they do it? I don't know. Should they do it? I don't think so.
Larry, I know where you fall, but give it to us straight and hard.
Yeah, man. I mean, part of me feels bad for them to some extent because they're suffering as a consequence of this whole coronavirus pandemic, and they're suffering right along the lines of the airlines and the hotel industry because they are based off of travel, and when people can't travel, they have no need for that service. They just don't. And so if you're stuck at home and normally, I mean, there's a lot of people who rent, they may go to Hertz rent a car because they have a corporate account with them. And every time they travel, that's where they go. Well, if you're not traveling, I mean, there's not a lot of businesses out there, I think, that can just simply say, all right, I have enough money to last for 2 months or 3 months with no business whatsoever. And, so basically they're stuck. They haven't had any real revenue because, if a lot of your revenue is coming from rentals or from fleet sales or whatever else, and you don't have any of that anymore, I don't know. Part of me feels bad for them on that sense, but then again, they were already $17 billion in debt. So, when their revenue drops to basically nothing and they have to miss a debt payment at $17 billion, part of me feels like, well, if whoever's financing that debt just needs to restructure it, because if you file for bankruptcy, all you're going to do is end up losing out on a lot of that money. You might be better served working with Hertz and just saying, look, we're going to restructure your debt. We'll move some of those payments to the back end or something, or we're going to, we'll lower your interest rate. We'll do something, and I know all that debt's not held by one individual, institution. I'm sure it's spread out, pretty broadly, but I still think it's probably best maybe if all the people that are holding their debt get together and say, let's restructure it so that they can actually pay it back instead of just filing for bankruptcy.
Well, what about downsizing?
Because they could just file for bankruptcy, and then somebody else, Enterprise or Alamo or somebody, could just come around and just say, well, cool, we'll just buy the name. And then they'll just reopen Hertz again, except it'll be Hertz that's basically just run by Alamo or Enterprise or Fox Rent-A-Car or whatever,
Man,
I mean, it might be a good opportunity for Elon Musk to get in there, and he can have a whole fleet of rental Teslas all across the country.
Don't get me started on his crazy butt making the stock go down. But in terms of Hertz, I'm sick of the handouts to the big corporations. They always try to tell the average American consumer you shouldn't be carrying debt and you need to have emergency funds for 6 months. And that's irregardless of whatever your expenditures are. That's irregardless of whatever your liabilities are. You need to figure out a way to make this happen. Your very first step in financial management and freedom. And I feel the same way about this and a lot of the other people that have gotten bailouts because they're too big to fail. It don't change for me with them. It didn't change for me back when it happened with Barack Obama and the car bailouts. And I'm just like, let them fail and let whoever's got cash saved up that wants to jump in that business, scoop it up and revitalize it the way capitalism is supposed to be done. I feel for the people that losing their job. I do.
Right.
However, the dirty pill on the other side of that is it is still capitalism, and it's supposed to be the system and the check and balance put in place that allows people to thrive when something like this happens. And if you keep bailing people out, It does nothing for the morale of the American consumer.
Right.
And it makes me, frankly, extremely mad that they get to live by a set of rules that we don't get to live by.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would feel differently about this, about bailing out the big corporations, if we felt like as individual citizens we were getting bailed out as well. So if they were doing like they have been in Canada and the UK and some of these places where they're giving people $2,000 a month or $2,500 a month over the course of this, over the course of several months during this pandemic, I think people wouldn't feel so negative towards these companies that are getting their bailouts or asking for assistance, because people would be like, yeah, we're getting it. They can get it. We're just trying to keep everything going. And people wouldn't feel so bad about it. But a lot of people are upset. They're like, why are these big billion-dollar corporations getting all this money? And we're up here worried about how we're going to feed our families. We're waiting in line at food pantries or trying to talk to our landlord so that we don't get evicted or missing our car payments and wonder if we're going to get repoed, So, I mean, I think if people were getting the assistance that they needed, they wouldn't have such an adverse, attitude or reaction towards the big companies getting the same sort of assistance.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, it's actually hard to get a fair shake right now, regardless of who you are, we see the government try to come in and assist and stuff like that, but does it really ever fix the problem? And I don't know. I'm not, and I'm not sure, because at the end of the day, everything that they give out has to be accounted for one way or the other. If it's not going to be through taxes, they're going to get that money back through some other means. Something is going to be adjusted. Something is going to go up. Something's going to change. There's going to be something, whether or not is hidden in all the red tape, or whether they come out and tell you blatantly on TV that you're getting this, but this is how we're paying for it. They're not just going to open up the reserve and, print money like Money Heist and just pass it out freely and expect the US dollar to still maintain its weight. It just don't happen that way. So if I agree with you, Lamont, if Hertz is having some problems like that, then the best thing for them to probably do is to downsize, readjust their loans and see if they can get them at lower, refinance for lower rates, or come up with some other plan, because it's not like the money that the government has to give those companies, they could give a little something to everybody, with the amount that they have to give those just to be able to sustain. And that's why I say it has to be, I would look at management too from the start. When you're that big and you're dealing with finances on a global scale in the billions of dollars, you got to have something. You got to have something in place. Something you're gonna have to cut the stick on somebody, downsize, make some tough decisions or something. But to throw that hand out, I don't agree with it. Some people do, but I don't.
I'll tell you, during this rough time when people are suffering, I think it brings back the issue of people should be allowed to commoditize or monetize their most constant commodity, which is themselves, and they should legalize prostitution.
Hey, it's the oldest profession in the world, bro. And all these rich billionaires and folks like that, they're getting it. I can tell you that right now, but they're not allowing others to get it because of whatever image it would paint for them But we've heard the stories of the folks who've gotten caught doing that and paying these women under the table and these little cabals in DC. It's a mess. But moving right along, now we're going to move to Social Security. When is the right time to take it? Why should you take it? This is a very polarizing issue for a lot of people because some people be limping along until they can start taking that money. But is that the right time to do it? We're going to discuss, and I'm going to let you guys hear a clip from the financial person who changed my life, who got me saving money, who got me investing, who helped me in real estate. It's my guy, Clark Howard. Take a look.
Are you confused about when to take Social Security? I'm Clark Howard. I want you to know the best time for you. There's not a perfect answer, but there are tools you can use to get to the best date for your situation. Most people tend to take it very young, relatively speaking. Your window to decide is between age 62 and age 70. Fidelity Investments has a very easy to use tool that shows you what happens with your money depending on when you decide to take it. It shows that living into my 90s, if I take Social Security, in the example I put in at age 62, I got roughly $1,500 a month. At age 66, I got $2,100 a month. But if I wait till age 70, I get just under $2,700 a month.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is always the quagmire for most people. When should they take it? The longer you wait, you can almost make 8 times what you would make if you take it with the minute you turn 62. But the issue for some people is they don't feel like they might not live that long. So that's when it kind of comes to which one do you want? Do you want to get it early because you fear you might die before you reach 65 or 70? Or do you wait because you're in good health? But the numbers don't lie. You can make up to almost 6 times what you would get if you wait until you're 70 to get it. I give this one to you, Larry, first. Smart to wait or get it the minute you turn 62?
Get it the minute you turn 62 if you're a black man.
And, God, I knew you would say that.
I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, in reality, the life expectancy of black men in this country is considerably less than white men and white women. And so if we wait until we're 72, we may not live that long. And if we do live to get to it where we can get the increased amount, well, what happens? We wait that long, we get the increased amount, and then we're only alive for maybe, another 3 or 4 years or something. And we get that other increased amount for 3 or 4 years. Well, if you take that money early, you're talking about getting a less amount of money, but you're getting a lesser amount of money for like a full 10 years. So
now let me give you this caveat. Now you do know if you get your Social Security and you think you're going to be working a side hustle, it better be an under the table side hustle because you can be penalized from your Social Security if you make too much money.
Yes, you can. But if you take that money, let's say that you retire from your job and you have a pension coming in, or you have money from your Roth IRA or your whatever other investments you have, well, you could take your Social Security and just invest it. That can just be the money you throw into your brokerage account every month and you invest it, or that's the money you use to put into a little fund to go buy, some rehab property or something.
Oh boy, hold up. We got a super chat, and I got new graphics for people that super chat. What's up, Mike Willie? I would give you the option to pick, but since you don't know what the options are, I'm gonna just go ahead and give you one because you are helping contribute to the.
I represent the rent is too damn high party. Playing a silly game, but it's not going to happen. The rent too damn high movement. The people I'm here to represent can't afford to pay their rent. Listen, someone's stomach, child's stomach just growled. Did you hear it? Rent is too damn high.
Mike Willie, thank you, because Mike Willie, the rent is too damn high, and you helping make it low. I appreciate you, homie. And anybody that super chat, I've got an array of visual graphics I'll play for you to say I'm thankful for your contributions. All it takes is $1, and you can get a little surprise in your thank you. But Larry, finish what you were saying.
Yeah, I really honestly think that if you are a black man in this country where you have a lower life expectancy in the first place, it just makes more sense to take it early. You can use that money during that course of, let's say, if you take it at 62 instead of 72, for that period of time, you may be getting less money. It may not even average out, but it may average out. If you look at it at taking it over 62, and let's say you live to 82, well, you're going to take that lesser amount over a period of 20 years versus a period of 10 years. So it may actually average out. You may actually end up coming ahead a little bit depending on what you do with your money. If you put it in, like I said, into a brokerage account and invest it, or you use it to maybe buy property or rehab something. I mean, maybe just use it to travel or have fun with, but that gives you that much more time that you have some money to use and spend and play with. And let's say that you die at 68. Let's say you die at 71. Well, guess what? You've had all that money for that period of time instead of waiting for something that you may never end up getting because you just don't live that long to get it. So I say take it. I mean, yeah, maybe you could have got more money later, but I mean, maybe ultimately it doesn't matter.
Oh, damn. See, T-Streams, you next. Buzz done dropped the $1. I appreciate you, Buzz. I'm going to give you a new graphic, Buzz. I got one for you too, baby. You sit tight. Here we go.
I thought somebody was barbecuing. I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. And then the smoke got me. I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
That's right, my folk, Buzz. Ain't nobody got time to be sitting up here not getting super chatted. I appreciate. Damn, J Money, Lord have mercy.
Here we go.
Hey, J Money. I got one for you too, J Money. I got one for you too. This one's gonna be short and quick.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
That's right. Super chatting is a hell of a drug. And I sure appreciate it. T-Streams, drop your knowledge. Should you take that money early or should you wait and let it triple itself by the time you're 72?
Whew, man, that's a tough one, man. Because I think that it would be different for different people depending on a few variables. One, what is the state of your current health at the time of 62? And then two, what is the state of your work ethic? All right. And let me explain that. Me, myself, I'm a worker. I have to mingle with something. As long as I am physically able to move my hands, my feet, I have to do something. This, I have to work. If I'm not remodeling a home or building something, I'm doing something. I have to. All right. I've known people. One being my mentor. I used to lay bricks and blocks, and one of the guys that taught me when he worked, he worked till he got older, and then when he retired, he was only retired, for a few months, and then he just passed away of natural causes. But he always, prior to retiring, he would always say, man, I don't want to retire. I would go nuts if I just, sit at home and just did nothing or just watch TV or, do what we're doing right now every day. So I think a few variables do come into play. If you are physically able to, to go on, I would say, go ahead. What would you lose? If you have paid your dues and you have done well with your finances, and you can take that break and then truly live the glorified part of the American dream, then go ahead and take it as soon as you're able. Some people, they make so many bad decisions that they don't start getting it right till they're in their 40s and 50s. So when retirement time come, all they have is, $10,000 or $20,000 in the bank or something like that. And, it's a lot of money for some, but $10,000 or $20,000 really isn't a lot of money. And, you know, if that's what you have at your door to greet you when it's time to retire, plus an additional $1,000 a month or whatever they give you, you know, you have to evaluate that to say, well, damn, is this what it's going to be like? Because when I was 40 and I was bringing $4,000 a month home and had 5,000 in the bank, you know, paying my bills, eating and doing things, you know, it was still a little bit of a struggle. But now I'm up in age. I've got 20 in the bank, but I'm only going to be getting $1,100 a month. All right. So, you know, so I think there's going to be a few variables that's going to have to play a part on whether or not you should, or whether you can or not. If you've done well with managing your finances, saving, investing, and all this other kind of stuff, and you can do it, and you can hit 62 and you can say, screw the system, it's time for me to live my life. I'm not punching nobody's clock ever again. I'm about to do this, then go ahead. But we also have to look at the direction our world is going in. Almost every place you go into now, even McDonald's, you see folks 60 and 70 in McDonald's now. You see people 60 and 70 greeting you when you walk into Kroger's or Walmart. And so that lets us know that when you are legally able to do so, you're not always in the best financial position to do so. And, you know, it could be a conundrum for some, but, you know, that's the reality of the fact. So if you are in your 20s, your 30s, and your 40s, all right, and you know that 62 is coming right over the hill, it's not far away, you know, it's not far away, then if you haven't started making preparations for that time, then I suggest that it's high time to start doing so, like immediately, even in the midst of this situation that we have going on right now. Because when 62 hit and you have that choice in front of you, you don't want to be put in a position to say, I can retire, but I can't because I won't be able to afford it. You know, so, you know, if you did good by your kids and you raise your kids right, and they getting it and they able to assist, then, you know, that's all the more power. That's all the more power to you. But I would really suggest that when it's time for that time to come, that you really put some thought into it, because you can take it and make things harder for yourself. You know. So with me, it really just depends. It depends on a couple of variables.
I think that's another reason too, like you were saying, some people don't have a whole lot of savings. And then, you know, because there are a lot of people that are living check to check and they don't make much income to begin with. And then they get a little bit from Social Security, $1,000 or $1,500, whatever, every month from Social Security if they go early. That's another reason why a lot of people are leaving the country in retirement. A lot of people are finding themselves down into South America and Central America. You know, I'm originally from California. A lot of people would retire and move down to Mexico because you can make your dollar go a lot farther than you can here. You know, you can go buy or rent a nice little villa near the beach and pay, you know, $1,000 a month for a 3-bedroom place near the beach. And you're comfortable. Or you can go buy a place, you know, in a gated community out there for like $200,000, whereas you couldn't buy jack in anywhere near water out here unless it was in a swamp. You know,
you know something a lot of retirees do that people don't know, and I'm wondering what they're doing now. A lot of retirees don't want to deal with cars. They don't want to deal with living in the inner city. A lot of retirees, and this was about to be a problem for this industry, believe it or not, they will go live on cruise ships because it's cheaper to live on the cruise ship, hopping cruise ship, than it is to live on land. Because the cruise ship has medical doctors, they've got all the food you could want, sweet rooms, you get to travel all the time, you got gym. They live on the cruise. And when I saw the last average 3 years ago, it said that a couple living on cruises was only spending $1,500 a month total, and that included everything for a couple.
Oh, so I'm
pretty incredible.
I'm about to pack
Yeah,
my
man.
bag and move.
Man,
That's pretty incredible.
And it was getting so bad that the cruise industry was trying to consider a way to do something about it. But when they counted the bottom line, they realized, okay, these people are helping us maintain our revenue stream. So they didn't really do anything,
Right.
So I don't know. But for me, my thing that I always like to tell people, your health is your wealth. And this is coming from someone who used to be 320 some pounds, and I'm down like 210 now. Your health is your wealth. If you can somehow or another get control of your health before the doctors have to start controlling your health, I would say maybe push your retirement in terms of when you take that money, maybe in the middle, maybe like 65 or 66, if you can do that. To what Larry was saying, a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, and they're barely making above minimum wage. So to go and get $1,200 a month and don't got to do nothing for it, you're going to be getting health care. You're going to be getting that $1,200 a month. Then you can go live in subsidized housing. Then you can go get subsidized cell phone. I'm not going to be working for somebody flipping burgers, and I'm not making minimum wage. For what? I'm be on my own dime. But for the average person, like Trisha C was saying, some people retire and they don't have anything to do. Their mind just deteriorates, and then their body follows right behind it, just like that. So if it's me, I'm going to try to stay active, push mine as far as I can. In a perfect world, I would push it to 72. But considering all the dynamics, I would probably try to take it somewhere around 67 to 66. If it looks like my health is holding up, and if it looks like my dividends from all my savings are doing well, I would try to push it to that point.
Now think about it like this, right? Here's another reason why you could take your money early. And this is just me throwing this out there. Let's say that you don't really need that Social Security money. Let's say that you have your retirement from, you've made sure that you've invested in your IRA and your Roth and your TSP and all the other, investment, vehicles that have been afforded to you, and you have enough that you can pay all your bills and live comfortably without your Social Security. So let's say you decide, I'm going to take it early. I'm going to take it at my earliest opportunity. And so you only get, say, $1,200 a month. Well, $1,200 a month over the course of 12 months is like $1,400 and like $400 or something like that. It's like $14,400. So it's $144,000 over 10 years. So now let's assume that your kids have kids, and let's say that you retire when your grandkids are like 8. Well, in 10 years, by the time they're ready to go to college, if you took that Social Security money you didn't need and just put it away in a college fund, you have $144,000, not including the interest that it would have generated, that you can give to your grandkids to go to college. I mean, that's a huge benefit. I mean, or you could wait later and then take it out later, and maybe you get a little bit more for yourself later. But if you don't really need that money anyways, why not take it out and use it and grow it?
Right. So I want to ask you your subscribers a question here, man. How many of you guys that's actively, can you see how many people are actually watching? I want to ask, how many of you guys that's actively watching actually take time right now and invest in something like that? You're actually actively investing in something, whether it's money market, mutual funds. They have the Robinhood app that I'm not sure if it's actually been discussed or not. But how many of you guys actually actively investing right now for those later days? Stocks. You got one that's in stocks. Okay.
If they watch here's the problem, T-Stream. I put out financial videos independent of you guys, And those are the ones that never get views on this channel. I've done Robinhood app. I've done Webull. I've done Stessa. I've done Acorns. I've done all those different methods to kind of force saving, and they never, ever get watched. So that's why, like I told Larry the other day, in this sweet pill of pop culture we discussed, I also force feed financial videos in here because this is the most important thing we can be discussing with our community that we cover. And hopefully enough a filter to the end and watch it. But I've done videos about everything that has helped me get from 525 credit score and not making no money to over 6 figures and 800 credit score. And that stuff is the things on my channel that never gets watched.
Right.
But anyway, I've done Robinhood, and a bunch of people, the few people that did watch it did get the app. So I'm going to do a Robinhood app and investment video with the fellas probably on Monday, covering a little bit of ground, kind of like Investing 101. It'll be very, very simple ways you can get in and not have to have a lot of money to start investing, just forcing yourself to start putting away money.
Okay. Hey,
So
can I add something to this?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So and this is what I propose to you guys. So you guys be sure to watch out. All right. So here because this is in our community is really serious and imperative that you set up for the stormy day, or set up for those latter moments. A lot of us have parents, that you see and you just be like, dang, I wish I could do more for them. And then you look at your current situation, you wish you could do more for yourself and stuff like that. So we're going to discuss something like this again in a future video. And actually, I would actually like to add a giveaway independent of this to your cause. For those of you who participate, this I get with Lamont and sort of flush it out. But what I was having in mind is that, if you guys actively get involved with it, and show that you are contributing to it, regularly, like monthly or something. Maybe we can come back July 3rd, which is a Friday. That'd be our last video before the 4th of July. And, those of you who can confirm with Mr. Lamont here that you have it, that you've been contributing to your deal, I will personally donate 2 $500 scholarships that go into your savings fund for that cause. All right. Can you orchestrate that?
Be more careful. Wow. Did y'all hear that? Now let me give him a sound graphic, because he's going to help y'all with college money. Let me give him a graphic.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband, because they raping everybody out here.
Yeah. Hide your wallets, hide your pocketbooks, because T-Streams is giving out money to everybody up in here. And we're going to discuss the giveaway in a future video. And yeah, man, we're trying to help get the Black community, well, all communities in general, but especially ours, more empowered with knowledge, so y'all can do some of the things that we have been trying to do on our journey to financial freedom. I got one more issue for you guys tonight. Then I'll let y'all go to bed. And this might make Larry a little mad. So, but I gotta cover it. Cover it. Yo, boy, Joe Biden. This is the politics, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Biden has had some sexual allegations thrown at him. And we know that other politicians, and I'll name them after we watch what Joe Biden had to say. As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and cut to Joe Biden talking about the sexual allegations that have been thrown at him and how he feels about what is going on.
I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened. Women have a right to be heard, and the press should rigorously investigate claims they make. I'll always uphold that principle. But in the end, in every case, the truth is what matters. And in this case, the truth is the claims are false.
In 1993, Tara Reid worked in then-Senator Joe Biden's office. She says a supervisor asked her to deliver Biden his gym bag and he assaulted her in a Capitol Hill hallway.
I remember the coldness of the wall, and I remember his hands underneath my blouse and underneath my skirt, and his fingers penetrating me.
Now, I could have so many jokes, but we're going to take her seriously. Larry, I'm going to give this to you first. We've had 4 years of watching allegations come against Trump, allegations come against Brett Kavanaugh, allegations come from the redneck guy in, what was it, Mississippi, Alabama, one of them that was running for office. And all the Republicans did was turn a blind eye and allow these fools to just basically yell that they was vehemently lied on and they got away with it. Will this same thing happen to Joe Biden?
I mean, I think it's different with Joe Biden versus these other people. And part of the reason is that with these Republicans, when they're accused, a lot of them that have been accused have been very credible. I mean, when you're looking at, like, for instance, the dude that got busted having, hiring a gay prostitute in a bathroom in an airport, that happened because dude got arrested. It wasn't like somebody came forward 20 years later. That came out because there was an arrest record because dude got arrested for solicitation and indecent exposure, And when you're looking at that with Trump's on tape admitting that to a sexual assault. He's talking about grabbing people in their pees, and there's women out there that have said he's been that he's raped them, multiple women. This isn't like these are women that came out all years later after the fact. These are women that have been pursuing their cases actively before he even ran for president. And I mean, you start looking at like that guy that was running for the Senate seat down in, I think it was Mississippi or someplace. Well, I mean,
Alabama, I think it was.
Pedophilia and child molestation. These are cases, these are things where these women had talked about this going back for decades. It wasn't like this is something that just came up new with them. They've been talking about it for decades. It just came to our attention because this man was now in the national spotlight and part of the national conversation. But with Joe Biden, I'll put it like this. I just simply don't believe it. That's just the problem. I mean, that's the thing for me. I just simply do not believe that he did that. And I mean, I've seen stuff online where they're saying this woman, looking at her Twitter feed and stuff, saying how she's pro-Putin, how she's up there talking about, how Republicans understand what's going on with this with the anti-Russian propaganda, and they get it, and that's why they support Putin and yada, yada, yada. So it makes me wonder, maybe this whole thing with her coming out like this is just another one of these political tactics, backed by the Russian government to try and damage a candidate that can unseat Trump as the president. And I mean, in part is because I just do not believe that this. When this supposedly happened was when he was a senator years past. I cannot believe this would have gotten past the people who were vetting him for VP when he ran with Obama. When they selected a VP with Obama, they knew they were going to have to pick somebody who was squeaky clean. Now, Joe had a little bit of a loose lip mouth when he would say stuff off the cuff on hot mics, when he would curse and say some salty language, but there was never any hint of any sexual impropriety. And if there were, they would not have selected him, especially not for our first black president to run with. And so I just simply do not believe it. Just the thing. Now,
extreme.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to agree. If all of this was like, if there was like some weight to this that could really hang him, there would have been no better or opportune time than to hang it around the neck of Obama when they both ran that very first time, because any type of scandal attached to the first black man getting into the office would have derailed that whole situation, and they know it.
And a sexual scandal at that would have killed him.
There would have never been no Obama presidency, even if it didn't have anything to do with him. Just they would have tried to attack his competency to have a strong supporting team around him. And so that for this to come up right now is basically propaganda, old school political propaganda. I can't see it any other way. What I want to know is who is the person behind the scene, sending the cash under the table to this lady to come out, because if this happened back then, it should have been dealt with. So why bring it, why try to bring it up with weight now? And when it could have, you could have did it now 12 years ago. So I don't know, but it just goes to show you how they playing ball with it. They're going to do whatever they can. And it's probably not the end of this story. Okay. And it's probably not the last thing that they're going to throw up.
Of course not.
I still think they trying to clinch. They're trying to clinch that ooh-wee moment, because that is the only thing that's going to put Donald Trump in a position to take the presidency again. They have to have a strong ooh-wee moment. And this right here, just not it. I think this right here is just propaganda to stir the pot, so that when they do come up with it, or when they can try to drop it, they can say, well, not only was it this, but it was this too. So how can this guy be trustworthy to run the country, or however they decide to dress it? But anyway, it's that's one of them. Get on up out of here, movement, man.
Man, I'm a little nervous. It makes me queasy because Democrats don't have the same stomach that Republicans have, especially Republican women. Republican women can have those damn men tell them to go and shoot them a pig, bring it home and cook it, and they'll go do it. Not Democratic women. And some Democratic women might be on the fence about this. When he did that interview with Mika Brzezinski today, she is a stickler for women's rights and sticking it to men that have any impropriety with women. I was actually surprised she was as nice as she was to Joe Biden. And I worry that we have some soft heart Democrats that really do believe in the mantra, when they go low, we go high. And they might decide, well, I'm not going to vote. Or they might decide, since this other buffoon, Justin Amash, is getting in as a third party candidate, they might just try to get on their high horse and say, you know what? Since Trump and Biden are both so bad, I'm going to vote for the third party ticket, knowing good and damn well he's not going to win. And whenever they vote third party, it tends to always hurt the Democrat for whatever the reason. So those are my concerns.
That's not necessarily true. And in this case, I think because Justin Amash, if he gets in, he's going to pull from the Republican side because he's a Republican. He's a conservative.
No, he's claimed he's running as libertarian.
Well, I understand that he's going to run as a libertarian because he can't run as a Republican since the Republicans already have their nominee. But because he is a conservative, he's going to pull from that conservative voting pool, which means there's no Democrats that are going to look and say, oh, maybe I'm going to vote for him instead. No, I think that's one of the reasons why Democrats were so up in arms when Bernie Sanders was talking about running as a third party candidate against Obama. They were like, you can't do that. It would kill his candidacy because you're going to pull votes from the Democratic, voting pool. You just can't do that.
Now this is where I got to stop you. Gary Johnson, who ran third party in the last election, he was really a Republican. He got 3.5% of the votes. He got more votes than Jill Stein. And do you think those votes came from Republicans? Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. You had a lot of the Bernie bros that jumped on him and Jill Stein because they felt like they couldn't vote for Hillary, nor could they vote for Trump. And this Justin Amash might be just enough for the Bernie bros, who we kind of need them. and some of the Bernie bro women that we do kind of need to go to this young guy who claimed he's about liberty, he's about let the markets take care of everything. And I'm sure he's going to try to hide his abortion record. But when you go back and look at every election where a third party has been involved and they keep the numbers, there's only been one in the last 20 years where the Democrat won, and that was Ross Perot, Bill Clinton in 92. That's the only one.
Well,
the only one.
I guess we'll see what happens. I'm interested in seeing how all this goes down. I think that if the Democrats simply run the same sort of race they ran last time with this, not even the same race, excuse me, if they run and they pull in the same numbers that we did with Hillary Clinton, that if they just simply run a 50-state race, they will win. They didn't win. We didn't win. The Democrats did not win in 2016 with Hillary Clinton, not because Hillary couldn't have won and not because she didn't get more votes. It was because she didn't run a 50-state race. She focused on the big states, what she did, what she won, but she needed to focus on some of those other states, some of the smaller states, some of the battleground states, and all she needed was one. That was it. She just needed one, and she would have been president right now. And so I think if the Democrats simply focus on a 50-state strategy and they get the same amount of voters that we had in 2016, that we will win the presidency.
As Joe Biden would say, this is a term he coined. Bull malarkey is also what I call on these allegations popping up now. And to end this all T-strings, I got to come back to your state because this bothers me. Take a look at what's going on at your capital.
Yeah, that's just craziness right there.
That is it's stupid. Now, I'm going to tell you why I'm bothered. Because you see these clowns getting into the Capitol building with guns. I feel like that's white privilege because I don't see them letting a gang of black people getting into the building with guns. And then to add one more insult to injury, the president came out and said that these are fine people. But do y'all remember this person right here?
Yeah.
What did they have to say about him? They called the man a terrorist for taking a knee during the national anthem. And I want you guys to explain to me how in the hell is Colin Kaepernick worse for taking a knee for police brutality than these buffoons are for charging a Capitol building with an artillery with their fucking "Don't Dread on Me" flags, some of them with Nazi flags, heavy guns and weapons inside the Capitol. How are they better than Kaepernick and the protests he did? T-Streams, you first because it's your state.
Man, you know what? I tell you, they take white pride, white privilege to a whole new level every couple of days. And just it's illegal to have a firearm on federal property.
That's what I thought.
That's state property, though. That's state property.
And so, even so, I don't think that you are allowed. I don't think that you're allowed to take guns in there. That's sort of been the debate that we've been trying to look at today, because you can't take them into courthouses, the post office, or any of that other kind of stuff. And so I don't see why there would be like lax on the restrictions for the state capitol where where they actually meet. But it's actually getting crazy. It's actually getting crazy. And I tell you, man, I just pray that God keep those rednecks far away from me. I'm telling you, man, I don't have it in me to uphold and turn the other cheek like that. You know what I'm saying? I cannot do it. I will not do it. You know, so they're not going to prosecute. That situation has went worldwide on how they acting down here, especially because the president endorsed that behavior by calling them fine people. And I'm just everybody that I like talk to locally and stuff like that, they not buying that shit, man. They if they're gonna do that, they better keep that far away from the city. Because if they start displaying that type of stuff here, it's gonna be a civil war down here. And
Larry, get on in there, Larry. Get on in there.
Not gonna be nice.
I'm scared about T-Stream because I know T-Stream artilleried up. Get on in there, Larry.
Well, I'll say first of all that just earlier this week, Canada banned assault style rifles in their country after they had their deadliest shooting that they've ever had. They banned assault style rifles just like that. Boom, done, gone. And I'm not saying that. No, I am saying it. Fuck it, they should get rid of them. There's no need for an average citizen in this country to have a military grade weapon. Just not. If you want to have a shotgun, you want to have a hunting rifle, you want to have a handgun, there's arguments for that. There's no reason for anybody to have an AR-15 or an M4 or any of these other military grade rifles.
Right.
And as far as what these people were doing in the Capitol building, when they were in there and they had their guns and they were basically chanting, let us in, trying to get to the governor, I would have viewed that, if I was the governor, I would have viewed that as an attempt for these people to do a forceful takeover of that state government. I would have locked those damn doors. With them inside, I would have activated the National Guard, and I would have said, I'm going to have everybody by the time the National Guard gets here, if you are still on the state grounds, you will be arrested. If you are locked inside this building, you will be arrested. If you attempt to resist or you put your hand on your weapon, you will be killed. Period. That's the way I would have handled that. And if they were out there protesting again, I would have just called out the fire department and said, just squirt them down. I'm not going to say you have to go Bull Connor on them and knock them down with the high-pressured hoses. Just constantly squirt them down so they are so cold and uncomfortable they don't want to be out there. It's utterly ridiculous. They are, first of all, they're violating the stay-at-home orders. Second, they're violating the social distancing orders. Third, they're presenting a danger by having a mass protest without a permit. And I know they don't have a permit because they're not issuing permits because you can't have a gathering over 10 people in Michigan right now. So, I mean, they're violating multiple laws, and on top of that, they're bringing guns to these things. I mean, I'll tell you what, this is what the anti-gun people should do. And the Democrats should help organize this, and they should provide legal counsel to the people that participate. When you want to get rid of those gun laws, all you simply do is organize a mass gathering like that with black and brown people, have them show up and do the same doggone thing. I guarantee you by the end of the year, there will be legislation that says you cannot show up to a protest with a weapon. You cannot enter state capitals or be on state grounds with a weapon. There will be all kinds of weapons. There will be all kinds of gun control laws put into place immediately after you have a protest like that with black people. And
Mexicans too.
And Mexicans too. You go ahead and you do that, and I guarantee you that is one quick way to make sure that those gun laws are changed.
Yeah. And so the thing about that here, man, and it's weird because this is north here. They they get sort of wild with it, with that with their display of patriotism. Now, I'm just
No, let's not call it patriotism. Let's call it what it is. It's white. It's white supremacy hatred. Because when you show up with swastikas and Confederate flags, that is not patriotism. You're talking about flying the flags of two enemies of our country, two enemies that we've had to vanquish and lost a lot of lives doing so. That's not patriotism to fly those flags. It's not patriotism to march with the people that are flying those flags. What that is, it's just pure and simple white supremacy.
Right.
And intimidation.
Right, but that's what they think it is, and they've been, the commander in chief has validated them. You see what I'm saying? He validated them today with that, and with that being said, I think that it's going to happen. It's going to happen again. It may not be right here in Michigan. But I can tell you this: if we went up and took, if we went up there and took our rifles up there, or our CPLs and carried our pistols and stuff, just had them on us, and congregated, like that, we would be taken down by force. I'm almost 100% certain that if I walked in the state capitol building with my machine guns strapped to my body and my pistols clipped onto my side, walking in there like I'm ready to, go to war with any and everybody, they would probably, it's likely that they would probably kill me,
And not just walking in, you're in the face, 2 inches from the face of a police officer, from a state police officer in there, screaming in his face, shedding coronavirus all over him, screaming in his face. You would have been killed. First of all, you wouldn't have had an opportunity to scream in his face because, like you said, they would have shot and killed you.
Yeah, they would have.
And look, and this is why I put this graphic up. Oh, well, never mind. Of Colin Kaepernick, who done less. The people that he was representing that got killed, some of them did less than what these guys in this rally are doing, and they got killed by the cops in the first place. But the cops is going to let these dudes with their hot-ass breath scream in their face, hurling possible coronavirus and beer in their nose. Come on, man. Yeah. Come on.
I mean, part of me feels really bad for these police officers because they're up there and they have to do their job and they're forced to deal with this. But part of me doesn't feel bad because I'm like, if these were black people, you would have acted differently. You would have stopped them from going in there, or you would have arrested or shot these people. And so the fact that you're not doing this with white people means I just can't feel as bad maybe as I want to, because part of it is it's your own fault. It's your own bias that's allowing this to happen. It's crazy.
So that's why so if there's anybody just thinking that I'm some like violent goon or anything like that, that's not the case. I never even started investing in assault rifles and military grade weaponry until these crazy rednecks start congregating. That's not the first time that they did that, and till they started congregating in my immediate area, excuse me, and and started displaying these aggressive, I don't even want to call them protests, but they are very, very aggressive. And so, I have to look at it like this. They don't give a damn about me. They don't care about my religious belief, my political belief. They don't care if I'm a successful businessman or or anything. They don't care anything about me. Okay. So I never, I never like all we had was like regular pistols, 9s and 4.5s and 357s, just the classics, But it wasn't until then when I said, oh, these guys, they got power. They got some power. We better do something because, it's some areas here, and it's 2020. It's some areas here that I would not even drive unless I'm strapped and I got somebody with me. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
And it's, and it's not even in the hood. You know what I'm saying? This is where folks, driving Benzes and neckties and stuff like that. That you don't want to get caught out at. And nobody, I hate it because this is the reality that that I'm faced with. And so, and it's only going to get worse the longer that dude is in office. I don't know why he can't see it. I don't know why anybody on the opposite side cannot see it, that he has done a very good job at dividing racial lines in this country. It was already fragile in the first place. Okay. He just took it and intensified it and elevated the game to it. And
no, they see it. They see it, but they don't care as long as he's getting the Republicans the stuff that they want to get done for their big donors. They see it, but they're not going to say anything to him. They don't care as long as he's in power and they can get the things that they want. They turn the blind eye to it and act like it don't exist when we know it does.
Yeah. So if there's any rednecks in Michigan watching, if you come around me with that bush, we're gonna let you have it. And when it's empty, I'm gonna put another one in and we're gonna empty that one too. And then we'll deal with the consequences later. That's how my mindset is. Because if not, they'll catch me slipping. They doing it all the time. Anyway,
here's the thing, right? Here's the thing is that these people are allowing themselves to be just straight pawns in this game, because when you look at this protest in Michigan that's getting all this attention, it's coming from, this is not some grassroots movement. This is coming as a direct result of these right-wing talk show hosts on radio and podcasts that are getting these people all riled up and calling for them to go out and protest. They have intentionally targeted these battleground states like Michigan, and Michigan in particular, because they know, one, it's a battleground state, and two, they know that Meg Whitmer is on the top of the list as far as being a vice presidential nominee. And so if she's selected to be the vice president, they want to be able to put her in a position that she's damaged. They want to try and damage her. That has been the Republican playbook for the last couple of cycles, is let's find out who the Democrats who are likely to select for their candidates, and let's try and damage them before they even get a chance to run. They did that with Hillary when they ran with that Benghazi garbage for years upon years, and Trey Gowdy even admitted this was nothing but a ruse to try, it was just the whole thing was just designed to damage Hillary Clinton's presidential, aspirations. They did the whole thing with Joe Biden and that Burisma stuff. All that was just simply to try and damage Joe Biden because they believed that he was the likely presidential nominee, which he is. And I mean, that has been their playbook. They're doing it now. They're trying to damage Whitmer in Michigan because they know that she's likely going to be the vice presidential selection. And so, I mean, this is all political, but what these people are failing to understand as they're being used as pawns is that they're literally putting their lives at risk. And it's not a matter of them carrying around their guns and getting at risk of getting shot. The fact is they're getting together in close proximity with all these people, and they're likely going to get sick. They're going to get sick either themselves, or they're going to pass it to their family members and their old people that are around them. They're going to get sick, and people are going to die as a consequence, and they're being used as pawns. And when they do get sick, no one's going to care about them. These talk show hosts aren't going to come to their bedside and say, I'm so sorry. The government's not going to go and give them a special check. They're just going to get sick and die. And that's it. No one's going to take care of their families. They're just going to be dead.
And you know what? If they're going to sit here and be that stupid and keep risking this, you know what? They deserve to get what's coming to them. I mean, I'm just keeping it real. Matter of fact, they should be made to sign something that says you give up your rights to go fill up the damn hospitals because you're out here being stupid. That's what they should be doing. But, you know, I digress. Fellas, I'm going to end you guys on this. This is breaking news. And we're going to get out of here on this. The White House is blocking Dr. Fauci from testifying before Congress about the coronavirus response.
Yeah.
We'll finish that one. We'll finish that one on Monday.
I think it was so close, we should just go 2 hours.
No. T-Streams, give the people the final word, then I'll get Larry, then I'll end it for everybody.
All right. Despite the troubles that our country is going through right now, there is still a lot of decent people out here that exercise common sense on both sides of the fence. And whether or not we agree or disagree politically, we still have to look at the fact that we're all human. Some people make wise decisions. Some people make dumbass decisions. All right. Just make sure that you're on the side that makes wise decisions.
Larry.
Yeah. I will say that that I know a lot of people have focused on trying to take care of yourself and getting out and getting some exercise, getting some fresh air, eating properly. Take care of your mind too. I know that just yesterday, I had to just turn off the news, stop watching any coronavirus stuff. I sat up there for about 3-4 hours yesterday and watched Making the Cut, a fashion show with my wife on Amazon Prime, because I needed something light and just non-violent, non-coronavirus, non-nothing. I started to watch a movie, TV series called The Last Kingdom or something. And I was like, I can't deal with any violence right now. Sometimes you have to get away from all that bad stuff, all the negative stuff, all the harsh stuff, and just take it light. And we're bombarded with it all day. We get pop-ups on our phones and our tablets about news updates. We turn on CNN and we're constantly faced with that death toll. Just take care of yourself, watch something else, turn the news off for a while, and just sort of have fun and relax and let your mind be free.
Yep. As he said, unplug sometime, ladies and gentlemen. De-stress your mind as much as you're trying to work your body, and just make sure that you are progressively doing something to get better when this thing blows over. What we see on TV oftentimes is the minority of the way people really are in America. Yes, seeing those people go up to the Capitol is very infuriating. You have them in every backyard in America. But for every one of those, I do believe there's 3 or 4 people who are just kind of in the middle, who would rather get to know you on a level of what are your barriers? What are my barriers? Do we have something in common that we can use to overcome those barriers? And if you don't learn nothing else from me today, that's your life game for the day. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel, subscribe to Larry's channel, go check out Taylor on his Facebook group, share our videos, because we believe we are some of the deepest brothers in all of YouTube. We deserve more views. We deserve more subscribers. And one of these days, we are going to be at the apex of giving you guys the information you need to succeed. And that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe, get yourself that life gain. Until Monday at 9 p.m., we'll see you.
Peace.
Peace.